Hey, this is Mark Goldberg from Mark Vlogs Watches. Thanks for joining me. Today we're going to talk about addiction and getting hooked on a brand. Now, I'm not going to be talking so much about watch disease, which is the sort of collecting fetish that so many of us have. I'm going to be talking more about addiction to a particular brand. But before I do that, quick wristwatch check. Quick wristwatch check. This is a Breitling A13340 on a strap code ratcheting bracelet. I've reviewed the bracelet in my YouTube, so you might want to have a look at my channel and go back and have a peek at this watch and that bracelet. So here's my problem, guys. I'm kind of hooked on Rolex. Yes, I'm wearing a Breitling right now, and I do have a variety of other brands, but I come back to Rolex. I'm like a cat whose parents moved, whose family moved, but keep going back to the house. You know, they say that when you move, the dog is watching to make sure you put his dog bed onto the moving van, and the cat is taking his cat bed out of the moving van because the cat wants to stay with the house. The dog wants to be with you. Well, I'm a little like that with Rolex in the following sense. Almost no matter what brand of watch I buy, I'm always coming back to Rolex. It's the brand that seems to satisfy me the most, but that gives me a little bit of a conundrum, a little bit of a problem, and that is I'm not a big lover of precious metals, so I don't really like gold and platinum too much. I'm just afraid I'm gonna ding them. I'm always like banging into stuff. I'm a dog trainer, so I'm around fences and metal kennels and crates and leashes, and I'm like an active kind of a guy, plus I'm like mildly careless with my stuff, right? So I tend to bang things up a little bit, and that worries me in terms of buying precious metals. But the other thing is, here's the clash, the conundrum, if you will, the dilemma. The other side of the coin, the other edge of the sword. I can't stop. Help, it's analogy hell. Anyway, here's the problem. The problem is that I'm gravitating towards liking larger watches, right? So although I have some of the pre-ceramic in Rolexes. Well, let me tell you what I have pre-ceramic in Rolex. I have a I forget my reference numbers. Is it 16613? It's or no, 16013. I don't know. I'll stick it here I'll put up a picture of the watch and some text. But anyway, it is the two-tone pre-ceramic blue dial Submariner. Boy, did it take me a while to spit that shit out. Let's call it the two-tone bluesy, because that's what it's commonly known as. I have that watch, and it's a beautiful thing. I mean, it's just a beautiful thing. Right now she's busy being a safe queen, and as I'm talking about her, I'm thinking, crap, I need to go get her out and wear her a little bit. But I know what'll happen. Inside of a couple of days, I'll just become kind of, you know, I'll start feeling a little bit meh about her, because she's a 40mm pre-ceramic old style Rolex. So this is before Rolex went to the super case and the maxi dial, which means that the lugs are more delicate. It takes up a little bit less room on the wrist. The center links, although they are polished on that two-tone, they're gold, they are hollow, so it just doesn't have the, like the weight of some of the modern Rolexes. Now, I know it's really collectible, or let's just say it's increasingly going to become collectible, I think, and so I'll hold on to it. But she just feels a little delicate to me, you know what I'm talking about? Any of you who've handled the old style Rolexes. I have a two-line, no-date pre-ceramic Submariner. Again, it's a beautiful watch. I always notice those when other people are wearing them, but when I wear it, it just feels kind of delicate. It's not, it's a tool watch, it's a Rolex. It's you could easily wear that as a beater. However, I just find it a little bit skimpy on the metal. And I also have a 16600, which is a Sea Dweller pre-ceramic, and although that is a beefier watch than the old style Sub in the sense that it's thicker, it has the same sort of proportions for the case. And therefore, although I find it satisfyingly thick, I just don't find it quite wide enough in the lugs, if you will. So what does that have me loving in the way of the Rolex line? Well, I really love my DSSD. That's the James Cameron Deep Sea Dweller Blue. I made a video recently about that because I started off with a fake in that because I just wanted to make sure I could wear that particular size watch. It's 44 millimeters and it's really tall. I think it's 17 millimeters tall. So I just wanted to be sure I could cope with that. That's why I bought the fake. As soon as I realized, yep, I like it, I got rid of the fake and bought the real deal. But where do I go from here? That's really the problem. I recently got the Black Bay, the Tudor, the Burgundy. I have a video up about that also. I like it because it's 41 millimeters. Where else do I go in Rolex? Well, the Yachtmaster 2, which is also 44 millimeters, is an abortion. It's one of the only Rolexes I really dislike. You know, that should have been a late-term abortion, and someone should have stuck a rusty coat hanger right into the womb of Rolex and pulled that one out in pieces, you know, right before it was born. But unfortunately, there it is. It's on the market. So we can't really do much about that, but I wouldn't own one. You know what I wish? I wish that Rolex would put out that Deep Sea Dweller that I own in gold. Would that not be the shiznit? That would be like the fuck off piece, I think, for me. What else do they have that I could wear if I could talk myself into wearing gold? They have the day date, but it's 40 millimeters. So I tried one on, I like it, you know, but I just didn't see me in it. I think it's just a little too dressy, a little too Tony Soprano. They did make the 41 millimeter version of that, but that is no longer at the authorized dealer. So someday I hope to run into somebody wearing one so that I can try it on. It has just that little extra silly millimeter bigger, but it was not a really popular option and therefore was quickly discontinued. I don't think Rolex made it for more than a year or two. Check me on that, but I think I'm correct on that, which by the way probably just means it's going to be collectible because there was a low production run on it. And most people who are watch aficionados don't like it because they think the proportions of it are wrong, but I think the larger size would appeal to me. I just have to find one and try it on. And that leaves me with the Sky Dweller. And I'm not going to belabor this point. I will make a fuller video about the Sky Dweller at a later date. But the Sky Dweller just kind of pisses me off. And here's why. I wore one recently at the authorized dealer, and it's a love it or hate it dial, and I do love it. A lot of people don't. They find that little circular. I'll put a picture up now so you can take a look at it. So a lot of people find that circular 24-hour dial, which you can use to mark military time or as a second time zone, like a GMT. Some people find that off-putting. I don't mind it at all. The proportions of the watch are nice. It's a nice 42 millimeter wide. The bracelet is beautiful. I wouldn't get it in leather. I would get a bracelet for it. It's a gorgeous watch. But here's the thing that pisses me off. New, they're like $45,000. Who's gonna pay well, I'm not gonna pay $45,000 for a watch, which is an annual calendar that doesn't tell you the freaking day of the week. Like, I know what month it is, so it's really cool that it has an indicator around the 1 through the 12 that tells you which month you're in. And then of course you have the traditional Rolex date wheel with the traditional Rolex Cyclops. I like that. I'm not a Cyclops hater, but it doesn't tell you what day it is, and frankly, you know, I know we're in November. I just never can remember what the hell day of the week it is, so I can't see paying close to 50 grand for a watch that won't even tell me the day of the week. And given that the whole pitch and appeal of the watch is that it's an annual calendar, to me that just seems a little crazy that you have an annual calendar that doesn't give you that critical and relatively easy function. So I think I'd almost rather have the day date, because that I know what month it is. The day date tells me the day of the week up top, and then over on the Cyclops it tells me the date. But it's less sporty looking, whereas the form factor of the Sky Dweller is kind of like a sports watch. So that's my dilemma, guys. I know this is really first world problems. This is really stupid stuff to worry about, but you know, this is how I spend my day. What did you guys do today? And tell me, what do you think of the Sky Dweller? And am I just too hung up on Rolex? Should I be looking at Panerai, maybe one of those big Breitling? You know, how am I gonna get my gun off on a big watch if it's not in Rolex? Well, this is Mark Goldberg from Mark Vlogs Watches. Thanks for joining me on this episode.